Alright, everybody. Here we are. Man, it was close tonight. I literally just got home from work. I had to run to the store. I had to get our ingredients, and I haven't sat down for 2 minutes. And we're going. So tonight we're going to be doing Chinese food, and I'm not talking about that stuff you get in the buffet. I'm not talking about orange chicken. I'm talking about actual, authentic Chinese food, or as best as we can do it. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, Op, you're not Chinese. You know, Chinese food is hard. It's got multiple layers of flavorings. It's really scary. But I'm going to show you that you can make Chinese food extremely easily. We're actually going to do 3 things tonight. I'm going to do a egg flour soup, or egg drop soup as some people call it. That is one of Thekis's favorite things to do. Our favorite things to eat. So I'm going to show you guys how to make that. It's super simple, super delicious. Second course is going to be mapo tofu, which is a tofu dish with pork, ground pork, and lots of delicious flavors. We're going to try and sneak in a fried rice. Do the rice? No rice, so we're just going to do regular steamed rice then. We're going to do. You see, the thing about fried rice is that you really have to have cold rice. Leftover rice is the best way to do it. And then for the third course, we're going to be doing some prawns, and we're going to do prawns in black bean sauce with some ginger, and it's going to be delicious. So we're going to just. Oh yeah, and I also bought some bok choy. Show you guys how to do that. And but first we got to start by prepping. And let's see, what's the first thing? The first thing I'm going to prep tonight is going to be the ginger. So ginger is super prevalent in Asian cuisine. It's super good for you. It's actually great for gastric distress, all different kinds of things. My mom uses it quite often, actually, in when you're sick, if you have the flu or something. And this here is the unassuming ginger root. Now, ginger's not entirely expensive. I actually got these ginger roots for something like $1.50, and this is more than enough for what we're going to be using. Now, there are a couple of ways to peel ginger, but the skin on the outside of ginger is actually extremely thin. And you don't need to cut it. You don't need to do anything like that. Actually, you can use the edge of a spoon. And you can literally just peel it off that way. It's so thin that you can literally just use your spoon to scrape it off. And this actually really saves us on ginger. And I actually pop the little knobs off so it's easier, and you can save those for different applications. But so I'm just slowly peeling the ginger with the spoon. I want to make sure all of the skin is off of it. And this is going to be the reoccurring theme throughout our night. It's going to be ginger, because ginger is going to go in every single dish that we're using. So we'll just prep this out nicely. And sometimes you got to put a little bit of elbow grease into it, but not too bad. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move this to the side, clean off our shavings for right now. And actually, I'll go ahead and peel it all. Take off the little nodules. Theo! Theo's in the chat. Hello. One of my oldest friends, Theo.
What dish are we cooking again?
Oh, the dishes that we're cooking tonight, we're actually doing threefold. We're doing Chinese foods. We're starting with egg drop soup. We're going to go with mapo tofu. We're going to do a black bean and prawn dish. Just put Chinese food. We're going to do a black bean and prawn dish. We're going to do some bok choy. So we got a lot of things going on tonight. Right now, we're just peeling ginger with our little spoon. So, this can kind of get a little bit messy, as you can see. Some people just prefer to waste the ginger and do it with a regular peeler. But, you know, chefs have got to save every little bit that is useful. Unable to authenticate the Twitch's API. The channel owner may need to log in. What? Already get problems, which seems to be the theme of the Op9 show. Yeah, so it says Hearthstone. I've tried to fix it. I don't know what's going on. It says that it's updated, but it actually hasn't changed at all for me. So yeah. So what are some of the uses that you guys use ginger for? I mean, ginger is useful for so many things. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch. Ginger is just this, the aroma is just amazing. All right, there are 3 beautiful pieces of ginger. We got a couple little problems with the Chinese made simple with Op9. That's exactly. So apparently the only person who is not seeing the update is us. And that's just fine.
It does now that I refreshed it.
Okay. So that's good. Everything's working. Thikas has been working really hard today on getting all this stuff kind of set up a little bit better. And
as you can see, we have semi-color.
our color's a little bit better. We're getting a little better every day. And that's what I promised, and that's what I'm going to deliver. A little bit better every single stream. We've had a couple setbacks, but we're in it. Young Warrior in the house. Hopan the Beast is in the house. Theo, the Ball. I am so glad to see you guys here today, tonight. So glad that you guys are all here, because this Chinese food is going to be next level. And you guys are going to think you can't do it until you watch this and see how simple it is. So now we're going to cut up our ginger specimens. Actually, you know what? Since we're doing Chinese, why don't we use the Chinese cleaver? Yeah. Nice big 3 rams Chinese cleaver. First, I'm going to go ahead and cut off a couple of little slices, about 5 slices from this one. I'm going to set those off to the side. Those are going to be used for something else when we start the shrimp. We're going to use it. Sure makes a big noise, doesn't it? So this is more for vegetables than it is for hard rhizomes like ginger. But we can make it work. That's that dense, fibrous sound of the ginger. Pretty amazing. Now, it seems like when I was a kid, the ginger that we got was better quality. And I don't know what it is, but like this ginger, for example, it's very kind of like fibrous. More fibrous than I remember. But the flavor's still there. Still good for what we need it for. So right now, I've cut this into julienne. Cut these into some strips. And it all comes down to breaking down things to make it easier to cut. So right now, I'm going to continue to slice these julienne just as fine as I can. Then, once I've got a good amount of julienne, I'm going to go ahead and run it over like this. Also, just as tight as I possibly can, so that I can get a mince. And this is the harder way. You can tell, you can hear me going through the fibers there. This is the harder one. And this cleaver isn't exactly the sharpest knife on the planet. But we can get the job done with just about any old knife. The cool thing about a cleaver is that when you're done chopping something, you can literally just scoop it right up, and there's that huge amount of space there where it just holds it. So, ginger first. And you know what? I'm not even going to clean off this cutting board because I just want the ginger to just stay with it. Ginger did get really did get stringy over time, and I don't ever remember it really being that way. It was a lot easier to use back in the day. I don't know why, but anyway, the ginger itself has gotten way more dense and fibrous. Next, we're going to go with our green onions. Now, when you're looking for green or spring onions in the store, you want to make sure that there's no slime on the outside. It's not like sticky or mucousy at all. You want to make sure that the onion itself is actually a bright color and that it's taut and fresh. And then you got to look at here on the bottom of your roots. And if the roots are clean, not too dirty, then this is the bunch for you. Now the cool thing about green onions is I got this for 48 cents. So, while I do think the cleaver is a great thing for cutting, it's got ginger all over it. And I kind of want to keep it there so I can use it when I need to. Now, we're going to take our green onions and I want to cut them on a bias. What that means is that I'm going to cut it diagonally so that they look prettier. Take off this little bit here, and I'm literally just going to kind of run through them. Now this knife is dangerously sharp. Unless you had extremely keen eyes in the first episode, you didn't notice me cutting into my thumb. But this knife is so sharp, and there are so many things in the way of me, that I actually cut my thumb on stream. And what I did is I wrapped it up in a towel, and I held it underneath, and it was completely invisible. So we got away with murder there. So that just goes to show that even a professional, even a guy who uses knives all the time, if you're not paying attention, if you're spending your time doing other things, if you're trying to talk, if you're trying to get in, you can still cut the hell out of yourself with these knives. And that is the first time, believe it or not, that is the first time I have ever cut myself with a kitchen knife. Cut myself with all different kinds of things. Mandolins, slicers, all those things. And the first time I ever cut myself with an actual knife was on the stream. So, yeah. Be careful with your knives, ladies and gentlemen. What else do I got? Oh! Let's look in our little bag here. I've got Chinese style black bean sauce. Now this stuff is made with fermented soybean, and so it's kind of salty, but it also has a spice to it. And this is the weapon of choice for prawns or any seafood, really. The next thing I got was going to be for our fried rice. Unfortunately, we did not have time to make the rice, previously make the rice. So I had some little bay shrimps, which I'm sure we can use in something else. Soft tofu for our mapo tofu, which is a Chinese tofu and pork dish, which is going to make very good use of both of those ingredients that I previously showed. Baby bok choys. Now, I love bok choy. I don't eat it as much as I'd like to, but I love it. And you can find it fairly easily in the store, and it's always like beautiful. Bok choy is a close relative to cabbage, but it actually has a hard to explain. It actually has sort of like a wow, that's a different kind of taste. I would most closely classify it as like a cabbage / spinach, but the thing about it is MSG, which is actually a naturally occurring thing. It occurs most in leafy green vegetables, and especially in bok choy. So, MSG, it's not a bad thing, like most people would say, only in large amounts. But the natural MSG that comes in dark leafy green vegetables is the thing that tells you that it's delicious. It tells your brain, this vegetable is delicious, eat as much of it as you can. In order to prep, we'll keep this here. In order to prep the bok choy, we're just going to cut it in half. You can cut it into quarters if you like, but I prefer halves. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to nip the stem here, right through there. And then I'm going to go right in between the outer leaves, make one incision, and then there we go. We have it in half. And as you can see, it's chambered a lot like a cabbage would be. It's actually surprising the things that are actually cabbage, things that are actually related to cabbage. Like, for example, broccoli is an Italian type of cabbage. Cauliflower is actually cabbage. Lots and lots of different things are considered cabbage. So, we're going to cut our bok choy, the rest of them anyway, just like I showed you before. That one didn't have much of a tip, so we're not even going to worry about that guy. And that guy, you can see there's a slight bit of discoloration there, and that's just some browning from it actually hitting the oxygen as it gets cut. Nothing wrong with that. But we'll nip it off anyway because we want our food to be beautiful. Because, as they like to say in culinary school, 50 to 75% of people eat with their eyes first. If the food doesn't look delicious, people just aren't going to eat it. Or try it. But once you do try it, you'll find out that it's delicious. We're just going to take out the guesswork for you and always make beautiful food. All right, so we have our items chopped. And let's start our first thing. The first thing tonight, of course, is going to be the soup. Now, egg drop soup has all different kinds of ingredients anywhere you go. Not a fan of allergic to shellfish to ball. Man, that is so unfortunate. Missing out on that. But the mapo tofu you can definitely eat. You can definitely eat the mapo tofu. And you can eat the egg drop soup that we're going to show you right now. If I can find out where I put... there it is. So, it is always best to make your own stocks. I can show you how to do that in a later episode. In fact, I'm probably going to. But since I didn't have time today, I went ahead and I picked up chicken stock. Now, this is also going to make it a lot easier for you guys because if you're really hungry for this soup and you can't get it right away, then this is the best and easiest way to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that into the pot. And it's going to be crazy when you see how easy this is. I'm going to pour most of that. We're going to end up saving the rest of this for a different recipe. Now, this one's unsalted, and I always recommend that you get unsalted because you can always add salt, but you can never take it away. Next thing I'm going to add is, we're running real low on cornstarch, which is a big ingredient for this one, but I think we'll have enough. Now, cornstarch, as you know, you don't want it to be clumpy at all, because if it does get clumpy, you'll never get them out, and you basically make these little cornstarch dumplings that are not delicious. Let me clean up after myself here before we turn on the heat. Now, what I'm going to do, I got the cornstarch in there, and I'm going to whisk. Whisk this stuff in there while it's cold. You want to do it while it's cold because as soon as cornstarch heats up, it begins to congeal. So Janice, welcome to it. And what we're starting out with right now is we're going to do a really simple egg drop soup. So what I've done right now is I've got my chicken stock in there. And I'm actually using it to thicken cornstarch. And I'm going to go ahead and get that on the heat. Now, the magic of egg drop soup is the dropping in of the egg. And that has to do with the temperature, but it also has to do with the density of the soup. The density of the soup is going to allow it to not dissipate as much. So, as I slowly heat that up, I'm going to continue to stir it. And the reason why is because I don't want the cornstarch to congeal in one spot. I definitely want it to get all together. Well, Janice, if you keep watching, you'll see that we're actually going to do some prawns and black bean. And we also have some mapo tofu on the way. And right now, I'm just trying to kind of slowly ease people into the fact that Chinese food isn't a mystic and impossible thing to grasp. So the things that we know as American Chinese food, we're going to start out with that. Now, I'm going to do mine very simple, but people put like corn and peas and stuff in there, which I always thought was weird to put into a soup.
Wouldn't be much different from a chicken noodle soup with, just egg, I suppose. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of like a potage as well. Like it's gosh, I make this great corn potage. I'll have to show you guys someday, but it kind of reminds me of that a little bit, like just the thickness of it and how people tend to put weird stuff in it. But the corn portage I make is literally just sweet corn, and it's all about the technique. Yeah, I see people put some carrots in it today, and I don't have any of that stuff on me today. We might have corn, but right now I'm just going to show you the simplistic aspect of it. We're going to have to grab a couple eggs. So I got my 2 eggs that are going to get ready. I am currently in Vancouver, Washington, which is not the hugest Asian capital of the world, but I have a bunch of friends who are from Hong Kong And one of them is actually a chef, and I'm a chef. Been a chef for almost 16 years now. And I've worked in a couple of different Polynesian restaurants. I've worked with a lot of Asian food. So yeah. Egg themed stream. You know, DeBall, that's a great idea. There's actually a saying in the culinary industry that the creases on a chef's hat, you know, those big toque white hats that they have, that each one of those creases is a different egg dish that he's mastered. I don't know about all that. There are a lot of egg dishes, but I don't know about the hat. Nobody wears those anymore unless you're in like fine dining. Which I'm not in fine dining. Right now I'm cooking hamburgers for a living, but you know, gets the bills paid. So, it's taken a while, but you'll know when the cornstarch is actually beginning to cook out, because it'll become clear again, which is what we're looking for it to do. Souffle. So souffles are like these notoriously flaky things. They're really like, they could collapse and stuff. But the funny thing is that a lot of people don't know is that we actually consume souffle a lot more than we think, because cheesecake is basically a souffle. So I can definitely show you guys how to do a cheesecake. And I was actually planning on that. Eggs Benny, yes. Now I bet the Young Warrior has an amazing Eggs Benny recipe. I just bet. Alright, so it's starting to get a little clearer. I'm going to go ahead and start to whip my eggs up. You want to show them the angry egg?
Yeah, I gotta get it upstairs though.
Alright.
So I'll be right back.
So we go to PAX Prime every year, which they call just PAX West now. And every year they have this thing called the Pin Pals. And you collect like these little enamel pins. And some of them are for like artists and things like that. They're really cool. But we got one that was an angry egg. And it was my favorite one. Like we had to get it. She ended up getting one, but I couldn't find one. Frittatas, yeah, frittatas are good. Do you like your frittatas served warm or cold? Because I find the cold a little off-putting. Dr. Disrespect is still online, by the way. What's going on over there, I wonder? Stink the Land! Stink the Land is in my chat. I think this might be the first time, Stink. So good to see you. All right, there he is, the angry egg. Check out this little guy. Check out how amazing he is. This little dude. He's so angry. He's got this little angry face.
I like to think of him as determined.
He's a determined egg. It's a little fried egg with a little face on it. He's super cool. But yeah, we get all these ones like Tomka. Like they got all kinds of like cool pins that you can get. This one apparently is super rare. Got that from a friend named Dave. We got friends named Dave. Yeah. So yeah, dude, go to PAX, man. I would really love to see Young Warrior at PAX this upcoming year. The 2018 show. So I'm gonna go ahead and season the broth a little bit. I'm gonna season it with just regular salt. It's kind of like this is kind of like an easier beginning type thing for you guys. You don't have to have a lot of exotic ingredients. Some of the ingredients that we're going to use today are not easy to find where I'm at, and who knows if they're going to be easy for you guys to find. But you can go to Asian markets to get some of these things, and I actually just went to Winco, which is, I was surprised. I couldn't get Shaoxing wine, which is unfortunate, but I have a way around it. Alright, so mixing up my eggs, getting them good mixed up. Some people add water at this point. We don't want that to boil over.
What is your... Oh, Young Warrior would like to know what your favorite salt is.
My favorite salt. That is a difficult one because there are so many different salts that I really like. But I think the one that I like the most, right now anyway, is a salt that comes out of Australia from the Murray River. And it is pink in color, a light pink in color. And it tastes like butter. The saltiness, the acrid bitterness that you would get from a regular, just good old-fashioned salt, it's not there. It's really, really mild and buttery in flavor. So Murray River salt for sure is my favorite right now. All right, now, what I'm gonna do, we got our soup at a pretty good boil. I got my eggs mixed up. So I'm going to drop this down to just barely a simmer. Just barely a simmer. And I'm going to slowly start to, as soon as it gets cool, I'm going to slowly start to add the eggs. And I'm going to stir as I put it in. Now watch the bead. It has to be very small with this. And you can see it just turns into these beautiful flowers. It's just that simple, really. Like, there it is. Now, you can flavor this with just about anything you want. Our guest in here earlier was definitely against the peas. Corn for sure, peas not so much. I've seen carrots in there. I'm going to add a little bit of our green onion. Just enough to taste. I'm going to do something that is considered a faux pas. I'm going to add soy sauce for people, which you shouldn't. You always leave soy sauce on the table, but you never put it in there. Thekus, she says no. Thekus says no, but she's gonna come around. I tell you, she's gonna come around. I'm gonna add. This is Aloha Shoyu, by the way. Aloha Shoyu comes from Hawaii. It's not bitter and it's not overly salty like say a Kikkoman or something like that. The Aloha Shoyu is a little bit sweeter. It's way more mild in flavor. No, actually that was yeah, we got to go in Dark Horse. But actually no, that was egg yolk and egg white, whole egg mixed together. I'm going to add just the slightest touch of this soy. Chopsticks is the key. Chopsticks is the key to getting this separated. If you use a whisk or something like that, you're going to kind of kill the flour, the cool little design that the eggs make as they cook. Now you're craving soy sauce. That soy sauce is the best. I recommend it. Highly recommend that. Actually, what we can do is just for fun and just for a little bit of texture, we're going to add a tiny little bit of our tofu. Tofu I got here today is soft, which is what I prefer for mapo tofu because I don't want it to be so hard that it's kind of weird. Like it turns to a weird grainy kind of consistency. And I definitely don't want that. So I got the soft one, not silken, because silken is too soft and it'll just break up. Oh, we got the lovebirds in the chat today. All right. I'm going to put just a couple little pieces of the soft tofu in there. And then, after we stir it up a little bit, we're going to feed it to Thekus.
Oh no.
You know how much she hates eating the food. First, I'm going to taste it myself just to make sure everything's going okay. You get that hit of green onion right away. I think it might need just a tad bit more salt for my taste anyway. So altogether, just for this recipe for posterity's sake, I would say we're probably using about 3 to 3.5 cups of chicken stock. We're using, looks like we almost use like 1 whole egg. Probably could have got away with 1. We're using about a tablespoon of soy sauce. And then salt altogether, I would say probably half of a teaspoon. Not a whole bunch. We don't want it to be overly salty. So let's head over to the cutting board, Kim, and I'll show you how we are going to plate it. We got a cool little bowl here. One of my favorite bowls. Oh, I'm sure. So then, I'm going to find myself a ladle, which we honestly don't use much around here. Not a lot of soups in this house.
We have the top drawer.
Top drawer, there's a ladle. Deaconess knows where the ladles are. All right. So I'm just going to take this soup and I'm going to gently drop it into our bowl. All right. And for garnish, I'm going to add just a little bit of green onion on the middle. It's going to sink in there, but that's okay. And there's the soup. We'll get Thekus a spoon, and she gets to come try it. There she is.
Oh no.
Here's your soup. This is one of her favoriteest soups. So let's see how she likes it. We got the Titan here. The Secret Labs Titan. If you guys are looking for a gaming chair and you're tall like me and bigger like me, the Titan is the way to go. If I can get them to sponsor me, that would be great. So, she's trying the soup now. It's very light in flavor. There's not a whole lot going on there. But,
It's very light in flavor, but I don't know if I like the soy sauce.
she doesn't like that half a tablespoon of soy sauce in there. If she hadn't seen me put it in there, she wouldn't even notice it. This is what I have to deal with on a daily basis.
I gotta give a shit. But no, it's actually quite delicious. The green onion actually gives it a nice flavor, like a nice little crisp flavor into it, and the egg is nice in it too. Like, believe it or not, that makes a lot of difference, you know, because I really love my egg drop soup, and the consistency of the egg actually, you know, when you're eating it, it's a texture thing. If it's not right, it doesn't taste like, it doesn't feel good eating it.
Mm-hmm. My harshest critic. Right there.
Really. It's good though.
All right, so what should we go into next? Let's go into Mappo. The Bold. Stink the Land. Dark Horse. What's going on? Delglad's in the room. I didn't see him come in, but welcome, Delglad, to the room. Still out there. You know what? There's still some left if you want to come get it. You don't know where I live, but we'll give you the address. We trust you. All right. So that was the first simple, easy kind of stuff that we were doing. Mapo tofu is next. So, traditionally, the tofu that we're going to be using is usually softly poached. But I don't think we're going to go that way today. The tofu that I got anyway it's really soft already. Almost overly soft. Okay, we're on the board now. Now, this tofu is very, very, very kind of difficult to work with. So I could use the cleaver. Once again, I'm going with my utility knife. That's my Western ways. Now, this tofu is so soft and this knife is so sharp that I don't have to even move the tofu to cut it. I'm just going to do it just like that. Now, when I was doing that, you'll notice that I didn't do any of this action because the cutting action on a blade, which on this one is actually towards the back, which I find strange, but it works. The cutting action, it works by that little round area there. So if I were to move it up and down, I would be initiating that little hump in the blade, and it would definitely cut me. Since we don't need to use any kind of sawing motions on tofu, we're just not gonna. And there you go. It's cut just like that. You want that knife? So, this knife is a knife that the neighbor gave me, and it's called a Hampton Forge 8-inch chef. And I'll tell you, these knives are actually pretty cool. They're actually cheap. You can buy the whole set for fairly cheap. And yeah, the construction here, the handle's plastic, right? But it's in there well. The blade is made well. It's got this rainbow coloring on it, which I find funny. But yeah, the knife itself it's pretty well made. For like $40 for 3 knives, man. I've never actually worked with Hampton Forge before. $28, there you go. See, we actually got the full array. They're all different colors. We got this serrated knife, which I guess could be used for, what do they call it? A utility, but that serration, I don't know. And then we got a cool little paring knife. And they're sharp as hell. And we got them all from our neighbor for free. Free is a very good price. They work, says Thekus. She's a very talkative tonight. All right, we're gonna get out of pan. If anyone wants to donate better pans, that would be great. My pans are the ugliest Walmart pans you could ever imagine, which is hilarious considering I'm a professional chef. Most of my good equipment is at work.
That's actually the reason why you can't afford pans.
Yes, I'm a chef, which is why I can't afford pans. All right. Now, ground pork. I got this Northwest Finest natural ground pork. Really cheap, about $3 for 1 1/4 pounds. So, good ground pork is the basis of this particular recipe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of toasted sesame oil first off. Then I'm going to add some aromatics. That's going to be my ginger. I'm going to add a good amount of ginger. I'm going to add a little bit of my green onion to start. Now, traditionally you use Szechuan peppercorns, which I couldn't find at the store on the way here, so I don't have any. So I'm going to commit sacrilege and grind a little bit of regular black pepper into there. And I actually have a blend in here that has a couple of different kinds of pepper in it. And it's from McCormick and it's called Hot Shot. So I'm going to add a little bit of Hot Shot in there. It has other kind of peppers in it. Stink, we're going to be using so much ginger today. I'm going to add a good bit of Hot Shot to it. So Hot Shot is infused with like some other kind of chilies. Let's see. Black pepper, red pepper, and sunflower oil is the ingredients. So they're ingrained with the red pepper as well. And different peppercorns will bring you different flavors, of course. I'm going to go ahead and add just a tiny bit of coconut oil to this. Because I want the flavor of the sesame oil, but I need more oil than what I'm willing to put in there. Because the smoke point of sesame oil, especially toasted sesame oil, isn't as great as the coconut. Besides, as we learned in the last episode, coconut oil contains medium chain triglycerides, which are good for us. Good for our heart, good for our brain. Just remember, always find a sustainable source for your coconut oil because we don't want the orangutans to die. So once we get that going, should be pretty quick. We'll go ahead and put our pork in. I'm going to open that up. Now, pork is not exactly the cleanest meat on the planet. This is good fresh pork because it literally has no scent whatsoever. If your pork has any kind of strange odor coming out of it, do not eat it. Pork is not the cleanliest animal on the planet. And some of the farming practices aren't the best either, so we definitely want to make sure that our pork is extremely fresh. Plus, it just tastes better. All right, we're moving now. Things are starting to sizzle. Now, normally I would do this in a wok, but mine is buried somewhere deep in there. And woks don't really work well on the flat surface of this glass thing. It definitely has its uses, but that's not one of them. Just going to go ahead and add the pork in there now. Take this little piece of paper out. Come on, chopstick skills. It's really on there. Oh, you're failing. You're making me look bad. Piece of paper. Now, if and when you decide to follow this recipe, right now is when you're getting hit by the toasted sesame smell, as well as that intoxicating ginger aroma. We're just going to kind of break it up. Actually, how about I move over here? Do we have a better view of this one? I think the view is a little bit better on this side. We'll go on this side. We're going to have to wait for it to heat back up again. We'll go over there when we got time. All right, to this. No?
I was messing with just the full stove cam, seeing how that looked.
Oh, yeah. So to that, we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of the Aloha Shoyu. Indiana Jones in the house. Dr. Jones, welcome to the house. Welcome back to the agency. We just added, we're making mapo tofu tonight, which is a Chinese tofu and pork dish. It's delicious. I suppose we should start also doing some rice. you gotta get some rice going. Thick as dear,
Yeah.
would you mind rinsing the rice?
Why, certainly.
Do we have rice? We got it somewhere.
Yeah.
She's off to find the rice. All right, now we've added the soy sauce. We're going to add about 1/4 cup of the chicken stock. We are out of cornstarch, which is going to hamper us a little bit, but that's okay. We are going to add a tiny bit of sugar, cane sugar to be exact. You can add palm sugar is good.
How much rice do you put?
Let's cook. Let's do 2 cups. Let's do 3 cups.
3 cups.
India, I'm doing great. You know, had a real busy night at work. Haven't had a lot of downtime yet. But you know, as soon as I get on stream, I just get this energy back, and I get it from you guys. So I'm jumping the gun here a little bit. I probably should have waited for the pork to cook just a little bit longer, get a little bit brown before I started making the sauce. So I jumped the gun a little bit, but it's going to be okay. Oh, you can also add brown sugar. That would taste delicious in this. What? What are you talking about? She's making rice. She's unsure of her rice making, I think. I don't know.
No, I'm saying you should tell them what I'm actually doing.
Oh, so you're right. Thinkis, we're using a medium grain rice, and you should always wash your rice because there's a milky substance before she washes it out that actually comes off of your rice when you jostle it around in the water. That milky substance right there is starch. So starches we'll see how that works. That is an experiment right there. We added a little bit of the starch from the rice since we don't have any cornstarch because I forgot to buy it. We're going to try a little bit of the cornstarch or the rice starch. But anyway, those starches are not really so good for your digestive system. And actually, they did a study in Japan in 2004, and they linked unwashed rice to cases of colon cancer. So make sure that you wash your rice until the rice runs clear, and then you add the water in that you want to cook in there, and that's when you can cook it and eat it. But I always recommend that you wash your rice. Besides, it comes out better. If you don't wash your rice, it comes out like stodgy, and it can actually break up the kernels, which we don't want. That was a MacGyver move. It sure was. We'll see how it comes out. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and add some of the black bean paste. I'm going to say about a tablespoon of the black bean paste. I'm going to get that all mixed up in there. This black bean paste comes to us from Sun Luck, and I'm not so sure about the authenticity of said paste, but it's going to help us with our flavor. Now, Shaoxing wine is going to come into play here, and I don't have any. Another thing I couldn't. That moment when you realize that your really expensive mic is really close to the. You put water in it? That mic is really close to the faucet, so I bet it sounds pretty loud. Richard Dean Anderson, MacGyver. So, since I don't have Shaoxing wine, I'm going to use a mixture. It's It's going to be a little bit experimental. Shaoxi wine is a Chinese cooking wine, made specifically for cooking. I can't imagine you would ever want to drink it. But I'm going to add cooking sherry. I'm going to say that was about 1/4 cup. This is some fair, cheap sherry. And cheap sherry is good for only cooking. Then, in order to get the flavor of fermented rice, I bought this little cute little bottle of sake. Okay. And this one is extra cute because it has a little tiny cup, a little sake cup that goes on the top of it. Isn't that cute? Ridiculous. I'll pour about a tablespoon of that in there. Maybe a tablespoon and a half. All right. Tigus has washed the rice. I'm going to put that on. So I like to crank my rice up to high to get it to boil, and then I put it down to medium and let it simmer its way out. So, if you want to do it the traditional way, you would be slowly poaching your cubes of tofu right now. And while you're cooking this and getting the sauce going and stuff. Hands are now freezing. Go ahead and put them right here.
Cold water.
Come here. Put it right there.
I'm fine.
So now we're getting a color that we're more accustomed to. Starting to catch all these smells off of here that are really nice. Sherry does something to pork that is magical. A toast to you. It's actually not all that bad for a $3 bottle of sake. So I don't think our little bit of rice starch really helped it. But hopefully a good hearty bit of reduction will help. Taste what we got going on here so far. I'm going to use my black bean sauce spoon. That's really good already. I'm going to go ahead and throw almost double the amount of black bean in there. I really want that flavor to be prevalent in there. So I have this old bottle of sriracha. It's about, what, 8 years old now?
You had it since before you knew me.
I've been in a relationship with this particular... Oh, we gotta add garlic for sure. Damn. That's gotta go in right away. Almost forgot the garlic. I'm gonna put in... That's the equivalent of about 2 or 3 cloves. But anyway, back to this amazing bottle of sriracha. So this bottle of sriracha is pre the change. Now, if you don't know about the change in sriracha, all sriracha is made in Rosemead, California. Rosemead, California. Now, this original recipe, it was so spicy that while they were making it, the people in the town complained about the cloud that it was making in the air. And so they ended up changing the recipe so that it would be a little different. And so that it wouldn't be the cloud that was coming out wouldn't be so acrid. And they ended up using just red jalapenos, and that's the new one. But this bottle predates that change. And let me tell you, this stuff doesn't go bad. Sriracha never goes bad. I mean, maybe if you left it out in the sun and it grew mold, but if it's not moldy, it's pretty much good. This stuff, it really only takes a couple of little drops because it has matured and become this spicy, super spicy, very flavorful sauce. I'm just going to add, I want mapo tofu to be pretty spicy. So I'm going to add about that much in there. That's a lot. By today's sriracha standards, I could add double that and it still wouldn't be as hot as this old bottle of sriracha. And it's almost gone, folks. I'm going to be so sad when it's gone. So, for those who didn't notice, or for those who haven't, or maybe not friends with me on Facebook, a very special thing happened last night on my last stream. I was playing games, I had the Op9 get up, and it was enough to push me into becoming a Twitch affiliate. So, I am super duper excited about becoming an affiliate because that entitles us to emotes. We can finally get our own emotes. We can get, we have the sub button up. It is totally way weaker than it used to be. Yeah, so we have the Twitch sub button that you can get up there, so you can subscribe to the channel. And we're working on emotes. We're gonna get those done fairly quickly. But man, I am so proud of you guys for catapulting me up and really getting me into affiliate status within only 3 shows. That is pretty awesome. All right, back to what we're doing. Now that we got the garlic in there, it's all starting to come together. And you can see, due to the reduction, it's we're not going to need to use the cornstarch. I really dig the color. I'm actually going to go ahead and add just a tiny splash more. There we go. There's a sub right there. Thekus. Thekus subscribed. Thekus is now an agent, an official agent of the agency. I spent a long time, Delglad, I spent a long time before I actually ever did a stream networking and asking what people wanted and really getting to know the audience that I was going to be having. So, I'm a member of a lot of different Twitch communities, small communities, and we all band together to help each other. And so yeah, I've been really blessed with having a good community around me, and that's where it started. I had nearly 30 subscribers before I even did my first stream. And it was all about talking about what I was going to do. And I knew that was when I knew I had to just pretty much do cooking. When the people got so excited about it that they subbed before they even saw what I was going to do. I have... Right now I'm currently running 4 cameras, Blue Yeti Pro mic. So I definitely wanted to make sure that I had enough quality so that the first stream was going to show how dedicated I was to it. And I knew I had to do it because Thekus was actually excited about it too. Alright, I'm down here looking for a lid for our rice. I don't know where they got off to. There they are. I think think that's the right one. First one I pulled out.
Sorry guys, I reorganized the kitchen on him.
Yeah, she did. So I'm gonna turn that down to medium heat and let that work. We're starting to get some serious heat coming off this guy. You can see how it's gotten dark and it's starting to get glossy. And that's definitely what we're looking for. I would like for the pork to be a little bit more, not these long strands. And that's just going to happen with me continually stirring it. Now, since I love ginger so much, I'm going to throw it in a second wave. I want this ginger to be prominent in here. Surprisingly enough, our little experimental Shaoxing wine stand-in actually worked pretty well for the flavor. But you know, Del Glide, we got a long way to go. We got a long way to go to get the stream where I really want to get it. I want the lighting to be better. I want the camera angles to be even greater. I really want to make it just easy to watch, honestly. I got Thekus over there doing great transitions for me, and I really appreciate that. I couldn't do it without her. There's no way I could do this without her. There's no way I could go over there and do all these transitions and be like, hey, let's go over to the cutting board. She's not even close, by the way. She was looking at her Facebook. But I was going to prove how great she was at going to the cutting board. Here we are at the cutting board. I wouldn't be able to do that and cook and run over there and change it without Thekus.
Way to put me on the spot.
Well, you know, you got to stay on your toes here. You're an agent now. You're officially an agent. You got to be on your toes. Hey, Sai.
I was trying to promo for you.
My young cousin, or my young nephew in there. Sans Porel. So good to see you back, both of you. Silas. I probably shouldn't say your name on stream, but young nephew. There's going to be food here. We're probably not going to be able to eat all this. So, if you're hungry for Chinese food, come on down. That kid's growing up so fast, man. I'm making a Chinese dish called mapo tofu, and it's tofu and it's pork, and it's a sweet, kind of spicy sauce that it goes in. We made some egg flour soup earlier. We're going to make some prawns with garlic and ginger, and I think that's it. We got some rice going, of course. So, the sauce has gotten to a point of thickness that I'm happy with. And that is when I'm going to incorporate my tofu. I'm going to go ahead and turn this down because I don't want to reduce much more. But I'm going to add my tofu. And I want to do it very, very carefully. Because like I said, this soft tofu, it breaks really easily. And that is really when the cleaver comes into its own. Because I can pick up this entire block of tofu right on the edge of this cleaver. And I can slowly drop it in. Now, turn it down to off. I'm just going to turn it off for now. Because this is a very important piece. We do not want to break Oregon. What you doing in Oregon? But yeah, so I don't want to break up this tofu too much. So I'm going to stir it in very, very carefully. Now, at this point, if I wanted more spice, I could add chilies. People commonly add Anaheim chilies. Where I learned to make this was actually from California. So in California, I learned to make it from Japanese people instead of Chinese people. But they use Anaheim chili there, which is a waxy green chili. Not too spicy, but it's got enough, kind of comparable to a jalapeno. Oh, yeah. That's too bad, son. Well, you know, young nephew, we do this on Fridays and Saturdays. And I know you got that off from school. Divided Reality is in the chat. Here he is, the man of the hour. I was hosting this guy the other night, and let me tell you, he is a cool guy to talk to. Super cool guy. He's just starting out with his stream, and he plays all kinds of games, and he's just really cool to talk to about anything. Last night we were just talking about the Twitch game, and he said he was going to drop in today and watch me cook a little bit, and I am super glad that you are here, buddy. Thank you. So, I'm going to finish this. Actually, you know what? We're going to go ahead and take that right out. I'm going to put it onto a plate or a bowl. Let's see. Here we go. So, I hope I don't get into legal trouble for this. There's a logo on there, and we won't tell you what it is if you don't know what it is. But I got this from my old job. So we're just going to throw the mapo tofu in there, which, for the people who are just coming in, mapo tofu is a Chinese dish that's made with tofu and pork, ground pork, and it's in a spicy, sort of sweet sauce, and it's delicious. Hasn't really caught on to the American palate yet, but it's getting there, man. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to garnish that with a little bit of green onion. Like I said, we are working with a limited amount of ingredients so that you don't really have to go and break the bank. Let's switch that to the... So we'll switch that over there so you can see what it looks like. So that's what she looks like. It's kind of a gravy, honestly. In the American sense, it's kind of a gravy. Knife button. We know who that is. This is your first time in. Welcome. So yeah, we're making the mapo tofu. It's a little bit off center, but you know, you can't land right all the time. So we're gonna save that until the rice is done. What are these emotes that you're using now? Mr. Jensen, we know you're in there. All right. I'm going to do this old trick my mom used to do that I'm not sure it ever worked. We're going to put it in the microwave. We're not going to turn it on, but we're going to leave it in there. Hopefully it'll stay warm inside of the microwave. She still does that to this day. And so do I. I've been trained by her to think that the microwave is a hot box.
Who, me?
No, my mother.
Oh. I do the same thing. It must be a mother's thing, because my mother used to do the same thing, too.
Yeah. So, the rice is working. It's just about done, honestly. And let's start with the prawn dish. Now, you're going to notice a great similarity in how we started the mapo tofu to how we're going to start the prawn dish. Because, once again, we're going to be using the same aromatics and the same ingredients so that we don't have to spend a lot of money at the grocery store. It's kind of it's a good thing to have these things around. Sorry, I'm going to be washing out this pan real quick. Because we don't have a lot of pans here on the Op9 show. The agency's new tech. I wonder if we could get like a sponsorship from like Oneida or something. One of these pan companies. We'll see. Imagine. That's a young warrior term he likes to use. Imagine. By the way, if you haven't gotten to go over and see Young Warrior stream. I don't think he's working tonight. I'm not sure. I can't really look at it right now. I don't think he's working tonight, but he does fine art. Right now he's doing this glorious album cover, and he's doing it for a local band. But he's an amazing artist, and he's a pretty good cook, and he's an amazing friend.
He is not on right now.
He's not on right now. He was in the chat earlier. He usually comes in, but I think he's an hour ahead of us, so he works his day job. But yeah, if we could get a shout out to Young Warrior in the chat, that would be great. And you guys, if you could go over and follow him, that would be amazing. Tell him Op9 saying.
Just type in his Twitch channel?
I think what it is it an SO? It might be shout out.
I don't know.
We might not have it set up.
Let's see. I found a list of the command things, but I'm still learning Nightbot. I spent most of today trying to get the cameras and everything working again.
You can check out. There it is. So it is exclamation point, shout out, Young Warrior Fine Art. So yeah, jump on over there, give him a follow. Next time he's on, watch it. And let me tell you, the Warriors, as his following is called, are some of the most positive and nice people to interact with. And Young Warrior has such a effervescent personality that no matter how bad of a day you had, you can go in to Young Warrior's stream and they will greet you as if they have known you forever. And you can go and you can have a chat and you can watch art be made and you can just relax. There's the lab coat. Now the lab coat is the moniker of the Warriors. All right. So, the toasted sesame oil is in the pan. A bunch. A bunch of ginger is in the pan. Why do I have this thing on my...
Oh.
You know what I didn't notice? I still have this thing from work. That's a rubber band from a thing of cilantro. It fits perfectly on my finger. I don't know why it's still there. I think I'm going to go with it. What were you going to say, Deeks? Nothing. All right, we're going to take some more of our green onion. We love green onion. Fresh, delicious. There you go. See, the ball. You can save that page there so you can give you all your commands.
That's exactly what I'm trying to go for, but I'm trying to get back to the page to copy and paste. Mm-hmm. So many windows up right now, you guys.
Yeah, it's it looks like fun though, honestly. Like doing the controls, it looks like fun. It looks like something I might want to try. So, if you can click me over real quick.
Yeah.
Right, we still got these left. Okay. So we're gonna let those cook until we start to smell that telltale ginger smell. And once that smell starts releasing, we know that it's time. Now, this dish should be done in a wok. Once again, my wok is buried deep somewhere, and it doesn't work very well on this anyway, so it doesn't matter. This should be done on high heat because I want this to happen very, very quickly. I'm going to add just the smallest bit of my black bean paste into there. This is going to be the showstopper right here. This is the one that's going to make you want to go out and get these ingredients and try it yourself. I got a great deal on some 1620 shrimp. Shrimp, prawns, whatever you like. Head on, I prefer, but they didn't have head on, so I ended up getting shell on. Now the reason why I like head on is because it has all these flavors in there that you can really, they really just pop out at you. So I'm going to go ahead and throw them all in there. It's a fast one. I'm going to saute them. Now, in French, the word sauté, can anybody guess what it means? No Googling now, but can anybody guess what the word sauté means in French? Hate to burst your bubble, Thekus.
Sorry.
Just the tiniest bit of soy. Alright, gotta get that jumping. Theo says singe. Good guess. Not quite. So, in French, the word sauté literally means to jump. Sauté means to jump. So, when we're sautéing things and making them jump, we can always think back to the French terminology, sauté, which means to jump. Now, for the most part, when people cook prawns, they tend to overcook them. Prawns do not have to be cooked until they're rubber balls of awful. They can actually be cooked to the point where the middle of it is just slightly translucent. Now, we know what the word translucent is, correct? Oh, and again, I forgot my garlic. Garlic is important, especially in Chinese cooking. It smells delicious. Nope. Sauté means to jump. Young nephew. And I'm going to add some cracked black pepper because I don't have the Szechuan peppercorns, which you might have at home or you might have good access to them, but I just couldn't find them in the limited amount of time that I had, unfortunately. All right. I put a ton of garlic in there because, I mean, why not? I'm going to make sure that these guys are cooked on both sides. Definitely want to make sure. And you can tell by the color. On one side, let me get one for you. On one side, we have a orangish, reddish shell. On the other side, well, this one's fairly cooked on both sides. The other one is, we got to make sure that it's cooked in the middle. So it's a little bit translucent now. As you can see, a little bit translucent, but it's getting there. It's really close to done. I'm going to jump it a couple more times, and I'm going to make sure that none of them are like grievously undercooked, and then I'm just going to let carryover heat take care of the rest for me. And we mentioned and talked about carryover in an earlier episode, which you can always go back and watch for anybody who's not familiar with Twitch. If you look up on the top, you'll see my little picture, and it'll say Operative 9 with the guy holding the guns. And right next to it, it says videos. And you can click on videos. Don't do it right now because it'll make you click off of what you're watching here. But you can click on those videos and you can watch past episodes. Our shrimp are done. Our rice has got to be pretty close to done as well. Now, I don't know that we have any, but this would go really well topped with cilantro or also toasted peanuts if you wanted to go for a more Thai flavor. Sesame seeds, whatever you want to add, really. You can get creative with this stuff because, I mean, you know. That's the most fun about having, you know, being able to cook at home is that you get to be creative. You don't have to follow anyone's rules. You can just let your mind go. You can really get things going for your own palate. Of course, another hearty sprinkling of green onions And we'll put it over there on the cutting board so you all can see it in its full finished glory. There we are. Now, we are just zooming through this. We are already 1, 2, 3 dishes down. The rice, we'll go ahead and pop that off. Look at that. The rice 6 cents. We're gonna puff that out with a fork. That's a lot more rice than I thought it was gonna be. But you know, we can also use this at a later date to make our fried rice. When we put it in there, we're gonna put it in the refrigeration. All the leftovers. We're gonna break it up, and it'll get dried out. Like, you know, if you ever had Chinese takeout, you get this dried out weird rice. That's perfect for fried rice. That's perfect for fried rice. The last thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the bok choy. I'm going to use this same pan for the bok choy because it has all the delicious flavors that we have been building for our shrimp. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that it's good and hot. I'm going to add, surprise, surprise, a little bit more ginger. That's like the theme of the entire show, it looks like. A little bit more ginger. Now you can see the pan here is starting to brown. And what that is doing is it's making all of those delicious caramelized flavors caramelize even further, which is good for what we're about to do with this pan. I don't want to keep it on the full heat, but when I'm ready, I'm going to show you what I'm up to. Now, what is that called? Fond, I believe. The French call it fond. It's the crispiness at the bottom of your pan. And it is gold. Because if you add liquid to that, preferably, well, we'll add a little bit of sherry. We'll add a little bit of sherry, and we got just the tiniest bit of chicken stock left. So add a tiny bit of chicken stock. And you can see it lifts up off the pan, and all of those delicious concentrated flavors are now at work again. Tiny bit of sherry. Just a splash. A bit of our easy pour sake. And I'm going to throw a tiny bit of water in there. And then we can kind of move. I'm going to use the whisk. But we can kind of move around on the bottom and get those flavors up off the bottom of it. And once that's moving again, plus this is really good for the dishwasher. Dishwashers love this particular technique because it gets all the hard to scrape stuff off of the pan. Then we're going to take our bok choy. And we're going to rim it around the outside first. You want to make sure that the fat parts with the meatiest part is on the bottom of the pan, because that is the part that needs the most intense heat. It's the thickest, takes the longest to cook. Now we have put all of our bok choy in there. There are several different ways to cook bok choy. I'm just going to pan sear mine with the tiniest bit of salt. But you can actually blanch this and it comes out a little bit better. But we can get this pan seared to work just fine. We got all those flavors working on our side. Then we're going to take another lid. See if we can find one that's worth it. That might work. A little small. All right. We got a big lid. But unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see through it. The reason why we're going to add this lid, though, is because we need that juice, that liquor that we got at the bottom to help steam our vegetables. We got closed pots. Closed pots. Things are working. Okie dokie. All right. So I'm going to grab some plates out so that we can start plating out. Now, the way I prefer Chinese food is a serving method called family style. It's basically where you put the whole dish out that you made, and then you guys kind of pick it off. You pick off what you want off the big tray, and you got a bit of rice, and you all share. But we don't have a lot of room on the table because it's full of computers, so we're going to go ahead and go with just a good old plate. Good old American style, everything on one plate. Man, I just opened that up just to take a look. And let me tell you, the liquor, this little cloud puffs out. And you get the smell of that fresh ginger in the liquor. Hey, Joanne. Welcome. The first time in. You caught us a little bit late. We're just about ready to finish up. But we're still going to do the taste test. And I wanted you guys to know this. Everybody in the chat, Joanne, mother of Thekus, was my very first subscriber. And she didn't think we saw it, but we did. Thekus was a little bit upset that she wasn't the first, but she got second, and that's okay. Now, I'm going to open up this bok choy because it's needing to be turned. And then as soon as I turn it, it already looks pretty good. So I'm probably just going to drop the heat off. And we're going to go ahead and plate. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Now, we don't want to overcook this. If we overcook it, the green is going to turn into this hideous vegetal baby pink green. It's not good. We don't want the color to be off. So we're going to start plating it right away. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pull up my rice. Masterfully washed by Thekus. The ball's ready to eat. You ready to eat, the ball?
The ball's always got them crazy moats.
Yeah, because he follows some really good streamers. Rice. Of course, the centerpiece of the meal. Normally we would do this in a family style sort of thing, but we're just going to go ahead and plate it. That's really hot, so I'm going to use tongs. When it comes to steaming, chef hands can fail you very quickly. Because steam is a different kind of heat altogether. I can put my hand over a fire, but I can't put my hand over steam. We're going to roll this little beautiful foliage under. We're going to fold it under so that we have more room to fit more of the bok choy. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to alternate which way the stalks land so that I have a little landing pad for something else if I want. I can add the shrimp on top of it if I like, or I think that's going to be enough because these are pretty big bok choy.
Put it more in the middle.
Well, you'll see. We've got a lot to add to this particular plate. We're going to try and add a little bit of everything. Next, our delicious stir-fried shrimp. We're going to add that. Let's add it on top of the bok choy. You got to think of how you want to present this. Even if you're just presenting it to yourself, you got to treat yourself. You got to make your food look beautiful. I'm getting these all stacked up here. So the green against the backdrop of the prawns, it looks pretty good. Next, we're going to add our other dish, the mapo tofu. Now, mapo tofu, I literally just like to do it with just rice. But today, we got some shrimp and some other things. I'm not worried about that. The soup, already eaten, of course, by Thekus. Give it a bit of a taste. Let's see if I can't find a non-slotted serving spoon. Aha, there it is. Non-slotted serving spoon. And I'm going to grab the mapo tofu. And I'm going to plate it right here on the edge of the rice. Because I want that gravy, that sauce that we spent so long making, I want to get that into the rice. All right. And then, well, I think that's going to be the plate. Let's add a couple more shrimp out here just to kind of make it flow a little better. And there you go. There's our dinner. This massive, gargantuan pile of delicious, authentic Chinese food. There we go. And if you want to be an asshole, you can add more green onion.
I think your biggest fan just showed up in the chat.
My biggest fan, Gordito de Punk.
You know who that is?
I know who that is. And I'm so glad that you came. I'm so glad. I've worked up a bit of a sweat. I hope it's not too much. So, you're in here. I just want you to know this. A gordito. I just want you to know that you're literally in here with Giovanna's mother. So, yeah. And the answer is yes, you can absolutely sit on my face, young man. Sorry, guys, inside jokes and whatnot. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get a plate for me. You can watch me plate it up again if you like. This one's going to be a little bit quicker since we know how it's going to be. We know how it's going to go. All right. I want this other big one right here. Oh, yeah. Give me some of them shrimp. Look at that shrimp. Nice big 16, 20 shrimp. Now, when you go to the store, here's a nice, a good thing to be helpful. When you go to the store, you're going to see numbers next to the shrimp that you're going to buy. And those numbers mean different things. 16 to 20, for example, means that there are 16 to 20 shrimp per pound. So those are fair-sized shrimp. Then you got 71, 90, things like that. Those are the little small shrimp. And then it goes all the way down to these little itty-bitty baby bay shrimp. And they're not even classified. They're just bay shrimp. Okay, back to our plating, the big boy plate. The mapo tofu is going to go over here. Now, if I had cornstarch, the sauce would have ended up a little bit thicker and a little bit more luxurious. But I'll tell you, I didn't really have too much of a problem with it. Got a little bit more green onion. You can add sesame seeds. You can add whatever you like. But there you go. A big old plate of food. All right. Now we're going to head over to the eating table. I'm going to use my choppies. Choppy chops.
Ooh, guys. Ooh.
We're going to give Thekus a pitchfork and a knife. see you folks tonight. So glad that you guys came out with us and decided to watch the stream yet again. So we're gonna try it. I'm gonna grab a spoon because I'm gonna need one of those as well. Stink the land. You know, I'm really glad that you could come out and join the agency tonight with us, Stink, because I always love it when a fellow warrior comes out.
It's really good, guys. It's really good, guys.
Diggs likes it. She says it's real good.
You can really taste the ginger.
You put a lot in there.
It's a lot of ginger, but I mean, like, it's not overpowering ginger.
That mapo tofu takes the cake.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, that's really good. And I knew it was gonna come out well. I knew it was gonna come out well when I started to cook it. But we got the flavors to work. We didn't really have all of the ingredients that we needed, but you can use your mind, you can use your palate to use things that you wouldn't normally use in a recipe and have it work out. With the rice, it is fantastic. We're gonna move over to our shrimp now. Now you gotta peel them. I hear some people actually will take shrimp and just nom them, like full on jackets and everything.
Oh, that's...
I can't do that. You eat the whole jacket?
Well, okay, so on the tiny shrimps, yeah,
I'm
like...
learning new things about thinkers today.
Like on the tiny shrimps, like I don't worry about it, but I don't really eat big shrimps, so I guess I don't really know.
Now the bok choy is gonna be a little difficult to eat because it's still in these big pieces. I'm gonna do it with chopsticks, but I gave Thekus a knife so that she could cut it. Because Thekus doesn't like to nom on giant things. Okay, here we go. Ready? Like a professional. Delicious bok choy. Were you up there complaining about how you didn't have a fork? You know, I don't always get to see the chat, so sometimes as I'm eating, I look back up through the chat like, I don't remember that happening.
Yes. I had to go sneak into the dishwasher to get one.
Well, guys, I think that we are nearing the end of our time together. Once again, I am so happy that I could get affiliate. And I mean, let's be honest. You guys are the ones who brought me to affiliates so quickly. I am so proud of all of the people who have helped me and all of the people who enjoy watching the stream. I'm proud of Thekus for coming together and helping out, and she doesn't have to, you know, but she's took it upon herself to really kind of help out, and I really appreciate her for that. I'm just gonna choke me up, broski. Hopan the Beast, I'm so proud of you for introducing me to Twitch. Most people don't know that. I knew about Twitch beforehand, but I never watched it. I was never on it until Hopan the Beast showed me the way. And through watching his streams, which by the way, you should definitely go check him out when he's on. But by watching his streams, it made me want to be a streamer as well. And I'm just streaming what I know. And I'm so happy to be doing it. You know, I worked a long shift tonight and I came home and you guys re-energized me. So I'm gonna thank you for that. And we need to find somebody to raid. So, Hopan. Hopan is my dude. He's the guy who tells me who we should raid. MCB, we were going to do last night. See if he's still on. Let's see, who do we got?
Divided Reality has a channel, right?
Yeah, Divided Reality. We hit him up last night.
I just wanted to give him a shout out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely give Divided Reality a shout out. Go follow him, guys. He's working hard to get towards affiliate, and we really want to help out our fellow streamers. Absolutely. Divided, I'm so glad that I met you. I'm so glad that we're on, a similar level so that we can shoot ideas back and forth. But definitely go check him out. Go follow him. He's a really funny, really witty, really smart guy. You guys will have a fun time watching him. So we did him last night. So it's either MCB or Paterka. Those are both young, upcoming streamers. We definitely want to make sure that we give our shout outs to our young streamers. And that's what we're going to do tonight. So Hopan says MCB. He says he's right in the thick of it. Well, let's go give him a little bit of a raid. Let me go do a little precursor. See what he's doing. Let's see. MCB. He's playing Fortnite right now, which I didn't know this, but Fortnite is actually free. And I've been actually thinking about playing it. Indie. We're gonna do Indie next one. We're gonna do Indie. But I also want to thank Indie. We've bounced a lot of ideas back and forth as well. But we're gonna go and we're gonna raid. We're gonna type in raid. We're gonna type in MCB TVE, I believe, yes. TVE. Let's see if it's gonna work. Or is it raid? I don't think it is.
There's a tab up there for Nightbot commands.
Oh yes.
There's a
Slash
tab up
raid.
yonder.
It's the slash. I always forget.
Never get slash raid.
That's what the ball is here for. He's
Copy
literally
paste.
He's
Copy
literally
paste.
here to remind me about the slash. Slash raid. MCB. TVE. Here we go. There we go. Everybody, jump on into the raid. We're going to go give a young and up-and-coming streamer a little bit of a boost. Make sure that when we get there, we follow him and we show him some love. Slash rather than an exclamation, yeah. So it's actually, it's not a Nightbot command. Good night, Joanne. I know you got up and stayed up really late to see this. You're on a different time zone, so thanks for coming out. Thanks for watching. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Theo. Let's raid this guy. 7 raiders. 7 raiders. MCB. We're going to run out the show. I'm going to eat. So it takes, what does it take, 40 seconds? I think it's like 40 seconds. Yeah, I'm going to eat.
And we're raiding.
We're raiding.
Night.
That was great.